Hey guys, it's Amy. Thank you for joining me today. So as you can see, today we're going to be talking about Todd Mullis. And if you've been to my channel, Mind Squash, before, you have seen that I have made several videos about him. But before we get into that, let me just ask you to please subscribe and like and share. That is the best way possible to support this channel, because it looks like YouTube is not recommending my videos as much as it used to, and that's not helpful for me to grow my channel. So any support you guys can give, I would greatly appreciate. Now, I want to talk about Todd Mullis and specifically discuss the time frame based on what the prosecution is saying happened. I have been asked by several people to go over this, and I want to try to explain it to you guys so everybody's on the same page about why the prosecution's storyline really just is not feasible. So, without getting into too much detail, let me tell you what the prosecution has said. And if you need more information, I will put all of my other videos in the description below so you can check those out. So what did the prosecution say happened to Amy Mullis? And how did Todd Mullis end up attacking her and killing her with a corn rake? Well, they're saying that Todd Mullis and his son Tristan were working in the hog barn, as was Amy, for a period of time. And then she was basically asked by Todd to go and get a cat carrier from the red shed before going back into the house. There would only be a short amount of time for Todd to be able to get to her and kill her. You have to understand that Amy was supposed to be walking over to this red shed that Todd says was maybe 150 feet away, taking this thing off the shelf and carrying it back. So you have to consider how long it would take to walk 100 feet to find the cat carrier, which is pretty big and visible, to drag it down. And then she would have had to have been attacked at that point because she was found in the red shed. And she wasn't there hanging out. So when the prosecution talks about how, Todd Mullis and his son were supposedly working for an hour and a half to 2 hours, that doesn't mean that he has that length of time to kill her. He would have to have followed her almost right after she walked out of the hog barn in order to attack her with a surprise attack from behind. And also, they continue to go into this questioning of Tristan's drinks of water. That Tristan changed his story, that maybe he had a couple sips of water, maybe he had more than a couple sips of water, maybe it took him 30 seconds each time, maybe it took him 40 seconds each time, maybe it was a minute total, maybe it was 2 minutes total. It could have been 20 hours total, and it wouldn't matter because it would have had to have been the length of time that he was out of view of his father. And that would only be one of the times that he went to drink some water, which would only be under a minute. So you have to assume that, first of all, Todd would have left when Tristan went to get a drink of water. He would have only had, say, let's even give him a minute. So say Tristan goes and takes a sip of water, and the amount of time he's away from Todd is a minute. First of all, Tristan would have had to go get the drink of water shortly after Amy left the hog barn to go to the red shed. And then Todd would have had to have followed just a couple minutes behind. At that point, Tristan's already back, so he would see that they are both gone, but he never saw that. Amy was walking to the red shed, and in that time frame where she would have walked 150 feet, and tried to get out that cat carrier, that's the amount of time that was allotted for Todd to be the one to kill her. Whereas if she had an accident, he could have feasibly found her an hour later, and that would make sense. Or someone else could have potentially seen her and gone and killed her, and he could have found her an hour later, and that would have made sense. And to say that we are positive that there is nobody on the land because Todd and Tristan said that they were the only two people on their land does not make sense. First of all, that means we're to believe them when they say that, but we're not to believe them when they explain the rest of the story, where neither one of them had anything to do with it. So why are we believing some things that they say and assuming that other things are lies? Also, this is a big area of land. There's no way for them to know in all certainty that there was nobody somewhere on the farm there. There's no way for them to know that. So we are giving up a lot of assumptions with the prosecution story, and they're assumptions that just don't fit with this crime. Let's not forget one more thing, one more issue that had not even occurred to me until I watched the hearing for Todd's new trial, in which she had a new lawyer that did a much better job at defending him, and probably would have gotten him off. But I digress. He brought up the fact that the prosecution wants us to believe that Todd Mullis had planned this, that he had decided to do this because of the affair he was so angry about, even though there had been probably many, many others. And therefore he waited till shortly after she had had surgery so that she would be kind of out of it and what have you. And it would be a good excuse for why she would have fallen. So, okay, I understand that. But that morning, they did not go immediately out there to do this particular job with cleaning the hog barns, and they'd had no intention of Amy going out to the red shed. That was a random thought, because they initially had gone to another farm, another part of their family farm in a completely different location, because they were going to do some milling, but the ground was too frozen to do so. So now what does that tell us? Well, in my opinion, that tells us Todd did not plan this. Todd Mullis, did not plan to have this whole thing set up for that particular day, because they had no intention of being on their own family farm with Amy that day. They were supposed to be in a completely different area. I believe it was their brother's farm. They have several farms in the area between the Mullis family. And that's where they went that morning. So that day, they were supposed to be at another site doing some heavy work. But since they could not do it, they came back home and decided to switch over to this other job of cleaning the hog barn. So how did he plot to kill his wife that exact day when he had no plan to be around her on that exact day? There are a lot of reasons that this does not fit. And I just worry that there is an innocent man in prison, or at the very least, a man that was not proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And I hope that something is done about this, because he got screwed over by a horrible defense attorney, by a shisty-ass prosecutor, and with his hearing, we now were able to see what a good lawyer could have done for him. And hopefully he gets a chance to have that lawyer, Attorney Hawthorne, take over and save him from life in prison. So that's the gist of the time frame. I hope I told it well. Please let me know if it made sense, if you agree, if you disagree. Let me know either way. And please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment, and let me know what you thought before the video and what you thought after the video. And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Thank you. Bye.